You're listening to the Mindful Chapters, a sanctuary for heartfelt stories and gentle growth. If this chapter resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe to help our mindful community grow. Now let's continue the journey together. The 10-minute shift. A small daily ritual to change your life forever ***. By Lila Hart. Overall content in this book. Introduction. The moment everything changes. I want you to sit with yourself for just a breath. Notice where you are emotionally. Honestly. Because every transformation, every quantum jump, begins right here. With awareness. This book was born from a simple truth I learned during my own year of burnout and emotional fog. You can save yourself 10 years of wandering. With a simple 10-minute practice each day. Not spiritual overwhelm. Not hours of meditation. Just small rituals that pull your future toward you. Gently, powerfully. Today I want to show you how. Chapter 1. The Emotional Ladder, your point A. Imagine you're standing on a staircase. Each step is an emotion. And the emotion you spend the most time in becomes your dominant frequency, your point A. Are you living in worry? In frustration? In hope? In joy? You don't need to judge anything. You're simply locating where you're standing. Because energy moves when we tell the truth to ourselves. Your point A is never a punishment. It's a starting line. Chapter 2. Point B. The future that's already here. Now imagine the version of you who already has what you desire. Calmer you. The prosperous you. The freer you. What do they feel like? In the quantum field there is no time. When you feel the emotion of your future now, you pull that reality toward you like a magnet. You're not manifesting things. You're manifesting the emotional frequency that brings the things. And the fastest emotional ladder toward point B. Gratitude. Chapter 3. Gratitude, the most powerful frequency. Gratitude is a portal, doorway, a shift in perception. We only feel grateful for what we believe we've already received. So every time you practice gratitude, truly feel it, you're telling your mind, your nervous system, and the quantum field, I already have it. This is why gratitude collapses time. I've watched people attract jobs after months of searching, heal burnout, shift relationships, simply by practicing consistent, embodied gratitude. It's not magic, it's alignment. Chapter 4. The hidden world that's already here. Let me tell you a small story. In a video I once filmed, there was a tissue box sitting beside me the entire time. Most people didn't notice it. Not until I pointed it out. That's how abundance works. The things meant for you already exist. Opportunities, money, support, miracles. But we don't see what we're not focused on. Gratitude becomes the lens that helps you notice what has been here all along. Chapter 5. The 3 ways gratitude rewires your reality. 1. It grounds you into the present moment. Writing gratitude pulls your energy from the mind into the body, into the now. 2. It signals I already received, activating receiving energy. The universe responds to emotional truth, not wishful thinking. 3. It connects you to something bigger than yourself. Some days the only thing you can thank is the wind brushing past your cheek. And that's enough. Because that moment cracks you open to life again. Gratitude is not small. It is the subtle force that shifts everything. Chapter 6. The 10-minute ritual that changes everything. Just 10 minutes. 5 in the morning. 5 at night. That's it. Morning 5 minutes. 1. Intention setting. Sit for 1 quiet minute. Visualize one good thing that could happen today. What miracle wants to find me today? 2. Morning gratitude. Write 3 things you already have that you're grateful for. Your breath, your bed, your resilience, or life. This sets your emotional GPS toward abundance. Evening, 5 minutes. Evening gratitude. Write 3 things that happened today, small or big, that felt like gifts. A stranger's smile. Soft breeze. Kind message. A moment of laughter. You are training your brain to notice miracles. And when your brain sees more, your life receives more. Chapter 7: The Quantum Jump begins. Here's what happens when you practice the 10-minute shift. Your nervous system softens. Your frequency rises. Your perception sharpens. Your future starts to unfold faster. This is how you collapse time. Not by pushing. Not by forcing. But by feeling the future now. Chapter 8: A Story of Proof. A woman once joined my program when she was unemployed, exhausted, and terrified. I didn't give her strategies, affirmations, or business plans. I gave her one assignment. Write 3 gratitudes every day. Send them to me. Months later she found work. Beautiful work. Aligned work. Not because she hustled harder, but because she shifted her frequency. This isn't an exception. It's what happens when energy moves. Closing. The miracle is already looking for you. Take one breath with me. You don't need to change your whole life today. Just the frequency you're standing in. Your future isn't far away. It's leaning toward you. And the bridge between here and there is only 10 minutes long. Let's shift together gently. Introduction. The moment everything begins. Take a quiet breath with me. Right where you are. Not the perfect version of you. Not the healed you. Just you in this moment. Perhaps tired, hopeful, overwhelmed, or ready for something new. I want you to know this first. Your life doesn't change in a single breakthrough. Changes in the smallest moment you choose to feel differently. And that is where this little book was born. A few years ago, in the middle of my burnout, I remember sitting on the floor of my tiny New York apartment, surrounded by unfinished to-do lists, cold coffee, and a nervous system that wouldn't calm down. I felt like the world was moving faster than my heart could handle. But there was one day, one very quiet morning, when I picked up a notebook and wrote down a single sentence. Thank you for the strength I haven't even found yet. It was the smallest act. 5 seconds of presence. But something shifted inside me, just barely at first. Like the soft click of a door unlocking. I didn't know it then. But that moment would save me years of wandering. It was the beginning of what I now call the 10-minute shift. A simple morning and evening ritual that gently rewired my emotional frequency, reshaped the way my brain focused, and opened my life to opportunities one once thought were impossible. Not because I forced anything, not because I hustled harder, but because I learned how to feel my future now. As you read this book, I want you to imagine me sitting beside you, like an old friend, a big sister, a fellow traveler, guiding you softly without pressure, without perfectionism. I'm not here to preach. I'm here to walk with you. Because I believe this with my whole heart. Emotions are frequencies. And when your frequency changes, your reality must follow. If you've been stuck, if you've been spiraling, if you've been carrying the heaviness of the past far too long, this book is my hand extended toward you. We're about to explore how a simple ritual, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, can collapse time, raise your emotional baseline, and open your life to miracles that have been waiting for you. Not someday, not eventually, but now. So take one more slow breath. Your shift begins here. In the gentlest of ways. Let's walk forward together. Chapter 1. The Emotional Ladder, Your Point A. Take a slow, effortless breath with me. And let your shoulders drop just a little. Before we talk about miracles, quantum shifts, or the beautiful future waiting for you, we need to begin with something far more tender, far more intimate. Where are you standing emotionally right now? Not where you should be. Not where you're trying to be. Not where you pretend to be so others won't worry. Your real emotional position. Your point A. Because every shift, every transformation, every manifestation, every new timeline, always begins with honesty. Quiet, gentle honesty. And there is something profoundly powerful about telling the truth to yourself. The emotional ladder we all climb. I want you to imagine a staircase. Not a cold, rigid staircase, but a soft, wooden one. Warm under your feet, leading upward toward light. Each step is an emotion. At the very bottom, you find the heavier feelings. Fear, despair, guilt, powerlessness. Few steps higher. Anger, frustration, impatience. Higher still. Hope, curiosity, openness. And at the top, joy, freedom, appreciation, love. This is what psychologists sometimes call an emotional scale. But I prefer to see it as a ladder. Because ladders are meant to be climbed. Slowly, beautifully, at your own pace. And the step you find yourself standing on today is not a judgment of who you are. Simply your location. Your GPS pin for the soul. Why your point A matters more than you think. Every day your dominant emotions, the ones you feel most often, broadcast a kind of frequency. Joy has a frequency. Fear has a frequency. Even numbness has a frequency. And here's the most important truth I've learned. Through my own healing and through thousands of hours with clients. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you repeatedly feel. When I first realized this, during a season of deep burnout, felt almost unfair. I thought, so you're telling me my fear is calling in more fear? And the answer was yes. Not as a punishment but as a pattern. The emotional ladder simply reflects the energy you live in most often. If you're used to feeling anxious, your nervous system will naturally seek more situations that match anxiety. If you're used to irritation, your brain will filter the world through that lens. If you're used to peace, you'll draw in experiences that maintain that peace. This is the foundation of energy psychology. Your repeated emotions become your point of attraction. Your point A becomes your magnetic field. And in order to move toward a different future, your point B. We must first lovingly acknowledge where you are right now. Not to blame you, to empower you, because you cannot shift what you cannot see. The courage to look at your emotional baseline. Let me ask you something, gently. What emotion do you experience most often? Not what you want to feel. Not what others expect you to feel. But the truth. Is it worry? Is it hope? Is it anger? Is it numbness? Is it joy? Is it heaviness? Is it tenderness? Is it grief? Is it clarity? Whatever arises in your mind right now, trust it. Most people know their emotional baseline instantly. Because deep down we always know where we're standing. We just don't always pause long enough to name it. When I finally admitted that my own baseline was fear of not being enough, everything in my healing journey shifted. I realized I wasn't lazy. I wasn't broken. I wasn't unmotivated. I was scared. And scared people protect. They hide. They freeze. They overthink. They attach. They withdraw. My behaviors made sense once I understood the emotion beneath them. And I want you to know, whatever you discover about yourself in this moment is not a flaw. It's a map. You don't have to be on the top step to shift. There's a misconception in the self-help world that we need to feel high vibration all the time to manifest anything meaningful. That's not true. You don't need to leap from despair to joy. You don't need to fake positivity. You don't need to pretend you're okay when your heart feels bruised. Emotional shifts are like climbing a ladder, one step at a time. From hopelessness to anger. From anger to frustration. From frustration to willingness. From willingness to hope. From hope to appreciation. From appreciation to joy. One step at a time. And the most compassionate part. You only need to move one step upward consistently. To begin a quantum change. Point A is not a fixed place. It's a starting point with infinite possibilities. How emotional awareness creates quantum movement. Quantum energy responds to your dominant emotional frequency. Not your words, not your wishes, not even your goals. If you set a beautiful intention, I want abundance. I want love. I want clarity. But your emotional baseline is fear or lack. Your energy is still broadcasting point A. And this is why many people feel stuck even when they're trying hard to stay positive. They're thinking point B, but feeling point A. And the universe responds to feeling, not thinking. This realization isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to liberate you. Because once you understand this, you can focus your energy on the only thing that truly creates change. Shifting your feelings. Gently. Honestly. Consistently. This is the heart of the 10-minute shift. But before we can rise, we must understand the ground beneath our feet. An exercise. Locating your point A. I want you to do something simple. Close your eyes for a few seconds and ask your heart, not your mind, what emotion has been leading me lately? See what comes up. Don't analyze it. Don't argue with it. Don't judge it. Just notice. Now open your eyes. Place your hand gently on your chest and say softly, "This is where I am. And it's okay." This acknowledgement alone is transformative. Because emotional truth creates energetic movement. Honesty opens space. Acceptance softens resistance. Awareness invites possibility. This moment of clarity is the very first step of your quantum jump. Why we often avoid looking at our real feelings. It's not that people don't know what they're feeling. It's that many of us are afraid of slowing down enough to feel it. We stay busy. We stay distracted. We stay productive. We stay numbed. Not because we're weak, but because we're human. But I promise you something. Your feelings are never as scary as the stories you tell about them. When you look at an emotion directly, it loses its power to sabotage your life from the shadows. Your point A doesn't define your future, simply informs the path. And once you know your starting point, the upward movement becomes inevitable. The gentle truth about emotional patterns. Your repeated emotions shape your beliefs, your reactions, your tone of voice, your relationships, your decisions, your sense of time, your sense of possibility, your sense of worth, your attraction field, your future. This is why two people can walk into the same room and perceive completely different experiences, not because of what's happening around them, but because of what's happening inside them. Your emotional ladder shapes your entire reality. And the moment you understand this, your power returns to you. You no longer wait for external change. You no longer wait for circumstances to shift. You no longer wait for permission. You shift yourself. And when your inner world changes, your outer world follows. It always does. Soft invitation. So here is my gentle invitation for you. For the next 24 hours. Simply watch your emotions like clouds passing by. Noticing without judging. Observing without clinging. Witnessing without performing. Just noticing. Because awareness is the first spark. And sparks become shifts. And shifts become new timelines. Your emotional truth. Your honest point A. Is not the thing holding you back. It is the doorway. And you, love, are already standing in front of it. Chapter 2. Point B. The future that's already here. Take a breath with me, love. A slow one. The kind that lets your heart soften just a little. Now I want you to imagine something with me. Gently, without pressure. Imagine the version of you who has already arrived. The you who's living the life that right now feels like a wish. Hope. Quiet someday whisper in your chest. What do they feel like? Not what they have, not what they look like, not what they achieved. But what do they feel like? Because point B, your future, is not a destination. It's a frequency. And it already exists. The future you is not far away. Here's a truth that changed my entire life. Your future self is not someone you grow into. She's someone you remember. Let that sink in for a moment. Everything you desire. The confidence, the abundance, the peace, the love, the clarity. Already exists as a potential version of you. In quantum psychology we call these timelines. Think of them like streams of energy your soul can step into. Some timelines feel heavy and slow. Some feel light and electric. Some feel close. Some feel impossibly far. But they all exist. And point B, the version of you who already has what you desire, is already vibrating somewhere in your energetic field. You're not creating her. You're tuning into her. Why we often feel disconnected from our future. When people tell me they feel stuck or frustrated, or like their manifestations aren't working, I usually ask them one question. What emotion do you imagine you'll feel once you get what you want? And they say, I'll finally feel calm. I'll feel powerful. I'll feel worthy. I'll feel free. I'll feel abundant. I'll feel relieved. I'll feel joyful. Then I ask, and how often do you allow yourself to feel even 1% of that now? There's often a long silence. Because this is the part most of us were never taught. The gap between you and your future is always an emotional gap, not a physical one. Point B isn't far. It's simply vibrating at a level you don't visit often enough yet. But don't worry. We're going to change that gently. The bridge between now and next. Imagine you're standing by a river. On one side is your point A, the emotional patterns that have shaped your current life. On the other side is point B, the emotional frequency of the future you desire. Most people try to cross this river by forcing action. Working harder, hustling, pushing, rushing, doubting, trying to control everything. But that's like trying to swim across the river with a backpack full of rocks. It's exhausting. And it doesn't work. Point B is not reached through force. It's reached through alignment. Which is just a soft, beautiful word for, let me feel today even a small piece of how my future self feels. You don't need to feel the full frequency at once. Just one gentle drop, 1 degree shift, one breath of possibility. Because the moment you feel the emotion of your future self, even for a few seconds, you're already there. The neuroscience of feeling your future now. This might sound poetic, but it's also biological. Your brain does not distinguish between a real experience and a vividly felt internal one. If you close your eyes and feel abundance, your brain fires the same neural pathways that abundance would trigger if it showed up physically. If you feel love, your nervous system relaxes and expands exactly as if someone just hugged you. If you feel freedom, your body releases tension you didn't know you were carrying. When you feel your future, your brain literally begins wiring you into that timeline. This is the emotional equivalent of sending coordinates to your GPS. You are telling your body, "Take me there. Let's visit your point B together." I want to take you into a small visualization. Nothing complicated, just a soft moment with yourself. Close your eyes for a breath or two. Now imagine the version of you who has already received what you desire most. Don't think of the stuff. Think of the feeling. How does she wake up in the morning? What energy does she carry in her chest? How does she speak to herself? What has softened in her? What has strengthened? How does she walk through the world? Let yourself feel her for just 5 seconds. Noticing, absorbing, becoming. Now open your eyes. For those few seconds, you were already living in point B. That's how close your future actually is. The emotional signature of your future self. Every timeline has an emotional signature. Let me explain. Joy feels different from calm. Calm feels different from worthiness. Worthiness feels different from clarity. Clarity feels different from freedom. And the timeline you desire most, the point B you've been dreaming of, has a specific emotional signature. Something your body already understands. Ask yourself, what does my future feel like? Not look like. Not include. Not give me. But feel like. This is the key to collapsing time. Because the moment you feel the emotional signature of your point B, your nervous system shifts into alignment with the future that matches it. And alignment always precedes arrival. Always. Why you don't need to know how. Let me tell you something that may surprise you. Your future self never worries about the how. She doesn't need to. Because she knows something your current self sometimes forgets. The universe moves fastest when your heart is aligned, not when your mind is controlling. When you shift into the emotional frequency of your point B, opportunities reorganize themselves. People show up. Ideas land. Paths open. Coincidences align. Resources appear. Doors unlock. This isn't fantasy. It's frequency. Your point B already exists energetically. Your job is simply to meet it emotionally. The how reveals itself when the heart is ready. A small story about becoming your future self. Last year I sat alone in a small cafe in Santa Fe, journaling and sipping mint tea. I wrote a sentence that surprised me. I want to live in a timeline where I feel spacious. Spacious in my schedule. Spacious in my mind. Spacious in my heart. For years I'd lived with tension. Tight chest, tight jaw, tight expectations. So I tried something that felt radical at the time. Every day for 30 seconds, I practiced feeling spacious. I'd close my eyes and breathe as if my life wasn't rushing me. as if everything was already handled, as if the future had already been softened for me. Within months, my work changed, my relationships changed, my home environment changed, my opportunities changed, my energy changed, my reaction to life changed. I didn't chase a new timeline. I embodied one. This is the power of Point B. Your Point B is calling you. Here is the truth I want to place gently into your palms. You wouldn't desire something if it wasn't already available to you. Desire is not random. Desire is memory. Desire is intuition. Desire is recognition. Your soul remembers what your mind fears. Point B is already here, vibrating softly, patiently, lovingly, waiting for you to feel your way toward it. The doorway is emotional, not logical. The pathway is gentle, not forceful. The shift is internal, not external. You don't become a new person. You become the person you've always been beneath the noise. A gentle practice to begin meeting your future self. Here's something you can do today. Simple, small, and incredibly powerful. The 60-second future feeling. 1. Close your eyes. 2. Breathe slowly into your heart. 3. Ask, what is the primary emotion of my Point B? 4. Whatever comes up, even if it's just a whisper, let yourself feel that emotion for 60 seconds. 5. Don't force it. Just allow. That's it. Do this once a day. You will be amazed how quickly your world begins to shift. Because when you feel like your future, you attract the experiences that belong in that future. Emotion first. Reality second. Always in that order. Closing the chapter. You are closer than you think. Before we move on, I want you to place one hand on your heart. Feel the warmth there. Feel the quiet pulsing of life. Now whisper to yourself, gently, my future isn't far. I am already becoming. 'Cause you are. You truly are. Point B is not ahead of you. It is beside you, waiting for you to step into its frequency. One breath at a time. When you shift your emotions, your timeline shifts with you. And today, you've taken your first real step toward the future that has been calling your name. Chapter 3. Gratitude, the most powerful frequency. Take one slow breath with me, and feel the air move gently in and out of your body. That breath, simple, quiet, easy to overlook, is a miracle your nervous system performs without you ever asking. And that is exactly what gratitude is. The noticing of what has been supporting you all along. We often think of gratitude as a polite habit, a positive emotion, sweet gesture. But in energy psychology, gratitude is something far more powerful. It is the emotional frequency that collapses timelines. The doorway between Point A and Point B. The bridge between who you've been and who you're becoming. Gratitude isn't something you think, something you feel. And when you truly feel it, even for a moment, your entire energetic field shifts. Let's go gently into this together. The frequency that rewrites your reality. Every emotion you carry vibrates at a certain frequency. Fear contracts, worry narrows, anger sharpens, shame sinks. But gratitude expands, softens your chest, it opens your breath, it widens your perception, it signals to your nervous system, I am safe enough to receive. And here is the quiet magic. You can only feel grateful for something you believe is already yours. That single truth is the reason gratitude is the emotional engine of manifestation. When you embody gratitude, you are telling your mind, your body, and the quantum field, I have received, am receiving, I am ready for more. Gratitude turns your future into a lived experience. Now, the paradox that changes everything. Let me share something that took me years to understand. You don't attract abundance by wanting abundance. You attract abundance by feeling abundant. You don't attract love by seeking it. You attract love by feeling lovable. You don't attract peace by forcing calm. You attract peace by allowing moments of softness. Gratitude is the emotional evidence of already having. And in a universe that responds to emotion, evidence matters. Even imagined evidence. The moment you feel grateful, you collapse the emotional gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's the closest thing we have to a quantum shortcut. Gratitude versus positive thinking, they are not the same. A lot of people confuse gratitude with forced positivity. They are not the same. Positive thinking lives in the mind. I should feel good about this. I'm trying to be optimistic. I know I should be grateful. Gratitude lives in the body. My chest feels warm. My breath slows. I feel a subtle softening. I feel like something good is already here. The difference is enormous. Positive thinking is mental. Gratitude is energetic. Positive thinking tries to convince. Gratitude allows. Positive thinking reaches outward. Gratitude receives inward. This is why gratitude works, truly works when nothing else does. Shifts you from effort into alignment, from asking into receiving, from scarcity into abundance. Without force, without pressure, without pretending, just feeling. The story of the tissue box, a lesson in hidden abundance. I want to share a simple moment from a video I once recorded. Beside me was a tissue box, plain, ordinary, unnoticed. I filmed for almost 20 minutes, speaking about energy, emotion, and the art of shifting your frequency. When the video ended, I asked viewers, did anyone notice the tissue box? Most said no. Not because it wasn't there. Not because it was hidden. Not because it was unimportant. They simply weren't focused on it. This is how abundance works. Opportunities can sit right beside you. Support can live quietly behind you. Blessings can surround you. But if you aren't attuned to them, you won't see them. Not because they aren't real, but because your emotional frequency isn't aligned with noticing. Gratitude trains your mind to see what was already present, shifts your lens. It widens your perception. It reveals the quiet miracles you've been walking past. Why gratitude is the most potent emotional ladder. In Chapter 1, we talked about the emotional ladder. The steps from fear, anger, and frustration toward hope, appreciation, and joy. Gratitude sits near the top of that ladder. But it has a unique quality. It allows you to jump steps. You don't need to climb from fear, frustration, hope, optimism, appreciation. Gratitude lets you leap. Because it doesn't require better circumstances. It doesn't require success, money, love, or stability. It can arise in the smallest details. The warmth of your tea. The softness of your pillow. The breath filling your lungs. The sunlight on your skin. The sound of someone laughing nearby. The strength you didn't know you had. Gratitude is one of the only emotions you can generate without external change. And because of that, it becomes the fastest way to shift your frequency. the neuroscience behind the magic. Let's speak scientifically for a moment. Softly. When you feel genuine gratitude, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of reward; serotonin, the chemical of well-being; oxytocin, the chemical of connection; endorphins, the chemicals of calm. Together, they create a neurochemical imprint that tells your body, I am safe, I am supported, I can soften. And in that state of safety and openness, your brain begins to reorganize its filters. It starts noticing possibilities instead of obstacles, solutions instead of problems, support instead of lack, synchronicities instead of coincidences, opportunities that your old frequency would have ignored. Gratitude changes what your brain sees, and what your brain sees becomes what your life invites. It's not magic, it's biology. The energetics. Gratitude as a magnetic field. In quantum terms, gratitude broadcasts, I am an energetic match for receiving. Everything in the universe responds to resonance. Like attracts like. Frequency attracts frequency. Emotion attracts experience. When you feel grateful, you tune your emotional field to the vibration of abundance. You become a magnet for the timeline that matches that frequency. This is why people experience miracles when they practice gratitude consistently. It's not coincidence, it's coherence. Your internal world and external world start matching each other. A small story of real transformation. Years ago, a woman came to me overwhelmed with debt, exhausted from job searching, and convinced her life was falling apart. I didn't give her a strategy. I didn't give her a 10-step plan. I didn't give her affirmations or hustle advice. I gave her one assignment. Write 3 gratitudes a day and send them to me. She thought it was too simple, too soft, too small. But she did it, day after day, week after week. And slowly, her frequency softened. Her voice became brighter. Her energy opened. Within months, she found a job. A beautiful one. After nearly a year of searching. When she told me, she cried. But the first words she said were, I think the job was always nearby. I just couldn't see it until I changed. Exactly. Gratitude didn't create the opportunity. It made her able to receive it. The practice. Generating the emotion of receiving. Here is a simple, powerful way to practice gratitude. Feel before you think. Instead of listing things you should be grateful for, pause and let one small moment enter your awareness. Breath, sound, scent, memory, softness, tiny moment of relief. Let your body feel it. Let your chest warm. Let your breath deepen. Let your shoulders relax. You don't need a long list. You need a real sensation. Even 10 seconds of true gratitude is more powerful than 10 minutes of forced positivity. Gratitude is not a performance. It is a frequency. Closing the chapter. Gratitude as a portal. Before we end this chapter, place one hand over your heart. Feel that steady rhythm. The quiet work it does every moment. Without asking for recognition. Now whisper to yourself, thank you, for your breath, for your body, for your journey, for the moments of softness that carried you here. Gratitude is not the end of the shift. It is the beginning, the opening door, the lifted veil, the first step into the future you've already begun to feel. Your point B is closer than you think. And gratitude is the frequency that guides you there. Chapter 4. The Hidden World That's Already Here. Take a soft breath with me, love. Let your inhale stretch your chest just slightly. And let your exhale melt something small inside you, even if it's only the tiniest tension in your shoulders. Because what we're about to explore together is not about effort, it's about noticing. And noticing is one of the most powerful spiritual skills you'll ever develop. The abundance you keep walking past. There is an unseen world beside you every day. A world you pass by on your way to work, on your way to your next thought, on your way to your next worry. A world that's filled with tiny moments of support. Quiet, unassuming forms of abundance that you often don't recognize because your mind is too busy surviving. This is not your fault. It's human nature. But it's also the reason so many people feel stuck. They are surrounded by abundance they can't yet perceive. Let me tell you a small story. A moment that taught me this truth in the gentlest way. The tissue box that no one saw. I once filmed a video where a tissue box sat right beside me. Not hidden. Not disguised. Not camouflaged. Just there. For the entire 20 minutes. I spoke about energy, manifestation, emotional frequencies. Thousands of people watched. But almost no one noticed the tissue box until I pointed it out. And when I did, the comments were full of people saying, "I didn't see it at all. How did I miss that? It was there the whole time." It was there the whole time. And so are the blessings in your life. You don't see what you don't focus on. You don't receive what you don't recognize. You don't step into what you don't emotionally allow. Your future, your opportunities, your support. They don't arrive from outer space. They appear from the space you weren't looking at. This is the essence of energetic awareness. To see the beautiful things that were already here. The brain is a filter, not a camera. Science tells us something fascinating. Your brain doesn't show you everything that exists. It only shows you what you believe is important. Filters millions of details per second. And delivers only what matches your emotional frequency. That means, if you're focused on stress, your brain highlights problems. If you're focused on fear, your brain notices danger. If you're focused on lack, your brain sees only what's missing. But when you shift into gratitude, your brain begins scanning the world for what supports you. This is not wishful thinking. It's neurobiology. Your mind isn't objective. It's selective. And gratitude is the selection tool. The abundance paradox. People often say to me, "I'll be grateful when my life improves." But the truth is the opposite. Your life improves the moment you become grateful. Because gratitude doesn't wait for life to give you something worth appreciating. Gratitude reveals what was always worth appreciating. Life doesn't bring abundance to the grateful. Gratitude makes you able to perceive the abundance that was already there. This is the paradox that changed my life. What you focus on grows. Not because it magically appears, but because you finally see it. Walking through the world with a wider lens. Let me share another small story. Last winter, I was sitting by a window in a cafe in Santa Fe. Outside, a man walked by with a dog that looked like it had been stitched together from sunlight and joy. The man kept walking, but the dog stopped, just for a second, just long enough to look at me through the glass, with the softest, most knowing eyes. In that instant, something inside me quieted. A little knot I didn't realize I'd been carrying. Felt grateful. Deeply, suddenly grateful. For no reason except that life had offered me a moment of unexpected tenderness. It was a reminder. Abundance isn't always big. It isn't always dramatic. It isn't always loud. Sometimes abundance is a dog's gentle pause. Sometimes it's the morning light reflecting on your floor. Sometimes it's the way your tea warms your palms. Sometimes it's the message you needed arriving at the perfect moment. Sometimes it's someone's laughter drifting toward you in an airport, and you find yourself smiling without even knowing why. And sometimes you miss these moments, because you're focused on the version of abundance you think it should be. But abundance doesn't always look like money, success, or achievement. Often abundance looks like relief. Often abundance looks like warmth. Often abundance looks like softness. Often abundance looks like something you'd never post on Instagram, but would feel deeply in your heart. And once you understand this, your entire world opens. Why you don't see what you don't expect. Your expectations shape your perception. If you expect disappointment, you overlook good news. If you expect rejection, you miss moments of connection. If you expect nothing, you receive nothing. Not because the world isn't offering, but because you weren't in the frequency to receive. Energy is subtle. If you feel unworthy, you unconsciously ignore support. You dismiss compliments. You deny help. You sabotage opportunities. You cling to the familiar. You stay safe by staying small. But the moment you begin practicing gratitude, even in tiny amounts, your expectations shift. You begin to expect goodness. You begin to expect alignment. You begin to expect support. And when expectation changes, perception changes. When perception changes, reality follows. The wind that reminded me. There was a day not long ago when I was feeling low, heavy-hearted, drained, uncertain. I walked outside to clear my mind, and as I was standing there, the wind lifted my hair in the gentlest way. Just a whisper of movement. For some reason it broke me open. I felt tears gather, not from sadness, but from the reminder. Life is always touching you, even when you forget to notice. Gratitude doesn't require your life to be perfect. It requires your heart to be open. And when your heart opens even 1%, your world begins letting light in. How hidden abundance supports quantum jumps. Remember this. Point B, your future self, is not waiting to appear someday. She exists in the energetic field around you, right now. But you won't sense her until you begin noticing the subtle signs of her presence. When you start seeing abundance in small things, the softness in your morning, the kindness of a stranger, the clarity that arrives in a breath, the unexpected idea that feels like grace, you begin shifting into the frequency where point B already lives. The universe speaks softly, and gratitude trains your ears to hear it. Hidden abundance is not rare. It's constant, but it reveals itself only to those who look gently. A practice for revealing the hidden world. I want to give you something simple to try for the next 24 hours. The abundance noticing practice. 1. Walk slowly, even for 30 seconds. 2. Look around your environment with soft eyes. 3. Find 3 things that feel supportive. Not extraordinary, just supportive, just gentle, just good. 4. Whisper thank you, not to the object but to yourself, for noticing. That's it. 3 moments of noticing. This practice rewires your emotional lens. It awakens you to the hidden world, pulls you into alignment with your future timeline, and little by little, you will begin seeing what most people walk past. You will begin receiving what most people overlook. Closing the chapter. The world has been waiting for you to notice. Before you move on, place your hand over your heart once more. Feel the warmth. Now whisper softly. There is more here than I've been seeing. 'Cause there is. Life is not withholding goodness from you. You were simply trained to look elsewhere. But that's changing now. With each breath, each moment, each shift in perception, each spark of gratitude. There is a hidden world of abundance. Already here. Already surrounding you. Already ready for you. And now, you are beginning to see it. Chapter 5. The 3 ways gratitude rewires your reality. Take one slow, gentle breath. Let the inhale rise softly into your chest, and the exhale fall like a warm wave down your spine. Because what we're about to explore together is subtle, powerful, and capable of reshaping your life in ways that most people never realize. Gratitude is not just an emotion. It's not just a journal prompt. It's not just a morning ritual. Gratitude is a neurological event, a psychological shift, a vibrational recalibration, quantum signal. It is quite literally a rewiring of who you are. When you understand the mechanics of it, when you understand how gratitude rewires your brain, your energy, and your perception, you finally see why small, consistent acts of gratitude can collapse years of emotional stagnation. In this chapter, I want to guide you through the 3 transformative mechanisms that make gratitude the fastest way to shift your reality. 1. Gratitude grounds you into presence. 2. Gratitude generates the emotional frequency of receiving. 3. Gratitude connects you to something larger than yourself. Think of these 3 mechanisms as 3 powerful doors. And each time you practice gratitude, even for 10 seconds, you open all 3 at once. Let's walk through them slowly. 1. Gratitude grounds you into presence. We often imagine transformation as a dramatic moment. The thunderclap, the breakthrough, the sudden awakening. In reality, transformation is quiet. It happens in the spaces where you finally return home to yourself. But here's what most people don't understand. Your power only exists in the present moment. When you're living in the past, replaying memories, regrets, wounds, your energy sinks. When you're living in the future, worrying, chasing, anticipating, your nervous system tightens. Only here, in this breath, in this exact second, do you have access to the frequencies that create change. Gratitude is one of the fastest ways to anchor yourself into the present moment. Let me explain why. Presence is safety for the nervous system. Your nervous system doesn't need your life to be perfect. It needs to know you're safe right now. When you're anxious or overwhelmed, you're not experiencing the present. You're experiencing a prediction, fear, projection, story. But the moment you feel grateful for something real in front of you, the warmth of your tea, the softness of your blanket, the breath in your lungs, the love you feel for someone, the sunlight on your floor, your brain shifts. It exits survival mode and enters receiving mode. Gratitude sends a signal through your whole body. I'm okay in this moment. And when your body feels safe in the present, it becomes open to possibility. Presence sharpens your emotional perception. Another thing happens when you practice genuine gratitude. Your senses sharpen. You begin noticing colors, textures, patterns, synchronicities that you walked past before. Your internal world slows down, not in a lethargic sense, but in a grounded, centered way. You become more conscious of your thoughts, more aware of your emotional patterns, more able to choose rather than react. It is impossible to transform your life when you are disconnected from the moment you're living in. Gratitude returns you back into your body, so you can shift your emotions deliberately, not accidentally. Presence allows you to respond instead of repeat. Most people don't respond to life. They repeat their past. They respond with the same fear, the same irritation, the same worry, the same emotional loops. Gratitude interrupts this, creates a tiny pause in your automatic reactions, a moment of awareness where you can choose differently. New thought, a new emotional interpretation, a new way of engaging with yourself. This pause is the birthplace of change. In presence, you finally stop reliving old stories and step into new ones. 2. Gratitude generates the emotional frequency of receiving. Now we move into the quantum layer, one of the most important parts of this entire book. Gratitude is the emotional expression of having already received something. This is why it's so powerful. You don't say, "I will be grateful once it arrives." You say, "I am grateful because I feel it as though it already has." This might sound like a spiritual idea, but it is grounded in neuroscience and energy psychology. Let's explore it slowly. Your brain responds to emotion, not reality. Your brain does not wait for physical confirmation before it begins firing neural pathways. If you feel thankful for something you haven't yet seen, your brain processes that feeling as if the experience is already happening. Your brain says, "Oh, this is familiar. This is known. This is safe. Let's create more of this." You literally begin forming the identity of the version of you who has already received. Your nervous system receives before your life does. Before something arrives in your physical reality, it must first arrive in your emotional reality. Think of receiving as an energetic doorway. You cannot walk through it until your body is prepared to receive. And your body only prepares for what feels familiar. This is why people sabotage their own manifestations. They want abundance but feel unworthy. They want love but feel unsafe with intimacy. They want opportunity but fear visibility. They want ease but are addicted to struggle. Their nervous system isn't ready to receive what their mind says they want. Gratitude solves this problem. Gratitude makes receiving feel normal. When you feel grateful, your body relaxes into receiving energy, the emotional state your future requires. Gratitude signals the universe through frequency. In the energetic field, your emotions are signals. Fear signals contraction. Scarcity signals resistance. Worry signals blockage. Gratitude signals, "I am in receiving mode. I am aligned. I am ready." You become an energetic match for the timeline you desire. This is why gratitude works faster than affirmations. Affirmations are words. Gratitude is frequency. The universe responds to frequency. The emotional truth behind manifestation. Manifestation is often misunderstood. People think it's about visualizing objects or outcomes. It's not. Manifestation is the art of generating the emotional frequency of the reality you desire. You're not calling in money. You're calling in the emotion of abundance. You're not calling in love. You're calling in the emotion of being loved. You're not calling in clarity. You're calling in the emotion of alignment. Gratitude is the fastest way to generate these states, because it's the emotion closest to having. Gratitude rewires your emotional baseline to match the life you're creating. 3. Gratitude connects you to something larger than yourself. This is the soul-softening part that most people feel but cannot name. Every time you feel gratitude, you connect with a presence that is bigger than your personality, bigger than your identity, bigger than your past. Gratitude opens a doorway between your heart and the wider intelligence of the universe. You may call it God, or source, or love, or life, or guidance, or intuition. The name doesn't matter. The connection does. Gratitude softens the ego's grip. Your ego is not a villain. It's simply your protective layer, the part of you that tries to control, predict, and defend. But the ego cannot access miracles, can only access what feels safe and familiar. Gratitude softens the ego's tightness. It opens you to the possibility that something beyond your logic is working with you. In moments of gratitude, you're no longer trying to do everything alone. You're allowing, you're receiving, you're trusting. This is where the universe meets you. Gratitude awakens the sense of synchronicity. When you practice gratitude, you begin noticing the subtle threads of connection running through your life. Perfect timing, a gentle coincidences, intuitive nudges, unexpected kindness, a whispers of guidance, signs that seem too aligned to be random. These are not accidents. These are instructions from the universe that you're moving in the right direction. Gratitude heightens your sensitivity to these signals. You begin to realize that life is not happening against you. It is happening with you. Gratitude creates emotional communion. There is a moment, if you've ever practiced deep gratitude, you've felt it, where the emotion becomes bigger than you. A moment where your heart opens in a way that feels almost sacred. A moment where you realize that gratitude is not a personal emotion. It is a universal language. Gratitude aligns you with the frequency of love. Love aligns you with the frequency of creation. Creation aligns you with the future you're stepping into. When you feel gratitude, you are in communion with the intelligence that designed your path. You are no longer separate. You are connected. And connection is what makes miracles possible. Why these three mechanisms create quantum acceleration. Let's bring all of this together. When you practice gratitude, you enter the present moment. Your nervous system shifts into safety. Your brain reorganizes its perception. Your emotions rise into higher frequencies. Your body enters receiving mode. Your magnetic field aligns with abundance. Your intuition sharpens. Your spiritual connection strengthens. All of this happens in less than 20 seconds of genuine gratitude. This is why gratitude collapses time. This is why gratitude jumps timelines. This is why gratitude opens doors that once felt locked. Small emotion, massive impact. A gentle practice. The 10-second heart shift. I want to leave you with something simple, something you can carry anywhere. The 10-second heart shift. 1. Place one hand on your chest. 2. Take one slow breath. 3. Think of one small thing that warms you. Even if it's tiny, even if it's ordinary. 4. Let yourself feel grateful for just 10 seconds. 5. Release it gently. That's it. Do this once a day. Or 10 times a day. Or whenever your heart feels tight. You will feel the shift. You will become the shift. And your future will shift with you. Closing the chapter. You are becoming the receiver. Before you turn the page, place a hand on your heart once more. Whisper softly. I am ready to receive. I am ready to allow. I am ready to soften into the life that has been waiting for me. 'Cause you are. Gratitude is not something you practice. Gratitude is something you become. And when you become gratitude, life becomes generous. Chapter 6. The 10-minute ritual that changes everything. I want you to take one slow breath with me. And imagine I'm sitting with you, palms wrapped around a warm cup of tea, speaking softly the way I would speak to a friend. Because what I'm about to share with you isn't a technique. It's not a hack. It's not a productivity trick. It is a ritual, a sacred one. Gentle, simple, powerful enough to redirect the entire trajectory of your life. This 10-minute ritual is the very same practice that rescued me from burnout, helped me rebuild my emotional baseline, and opened my life to abundance I hadn't imagined. It's also the ritual that has changed the lives of thousands of students, not through intensity, but through consistency. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. That's it. But these 10 minutes contain the blueprint for emotional transformation, quantum alignment, and inner rewiring. Let's walk slowly through each part together. Why rituals work better than willpower. Before we dive into the steps, let's talk about why this ritual works. Willpower fades. Motivation fluctuates. Inspiration comes and goes. But rituals anchor you. Rituals don't rely on how you feel. They reshape how you feel. When you repeat a ritual daily, your brain begins to anticipate it. Your nervous system begins to soften around it. Your energy begins to organize itself toward it. This ritual becomes a doorway, your daily entry point into the emotional frequency of your future self. And over time, this doorway becomes your new home. Morning ritual, 5 minutes setting the coordinates of your day. Your morning sets your frequency. Before you check your phone, before you absorb the world, before your mind gets swept into responsibilities and noise, you have a short window, a sacred one, where your brain is in a highly suggestible, creative neural state. This is the moment to align, not with fear, not with anxiety, not with stress, but with possibility. Your morning ritual has 2 parts. Step 1. Intention setting, 2 minutes. What frequency do I choose today? I want you to sit quietly for a moment. You can place a hand on your heart if it feels grounding. Close your eyes. Then ask yourself gently, what do I want to experience today? Not do. Not achieve. Not fix. Experience. Maybe you want peace. Maybe you want clarity. Maybe you want ease. Maybe you want joy. Maybe you want momentum. Maybe you want softness. There is no wrong answer. Then visualize just for a few seconds what it would feel like if at least one moment of your day carried that feeling. You're not forcing anything. You're setting a direction, like placing a pin on your emotional GPS. Your intention becomes the vibrational doorway through which your day begins to unfold. Step 2. Morning gratitude, 3 minutes. Thank you for what I already have. Now take your journal. Write down 3 things you're grateful for in the present. Not big things. Not extraordinary things. Small, grounding, real things. The warmth of your bed. Your breath. Your coffee. Your body's resilience. The soft light in your room. Someone you love. Something that comforts you. Write slowly. Let yourself feel the gratitude in your chest, even if it's subtle. These morning gratitudes do 2 powerful things. 1. They reframe your perception. Your brain begins scanning your day for more support, more beauty, more abundance. 2. They lift your emotional baseline. You begin your day from the frequency of I have. not "I lack." This shift alone can rewrite your entire reality. Evening ritual, 5 minutes receiving the miracles of the day. If the morning ritual opens your day, the evening ritual closes the energetic loop. Tells your brain, this day mattered. Noticed. I received. Most people fall asleep in the frequency of stress, worrying about tomorrow, replaying today's mistakes, or scrolling themselves numb. But the moments before sleep are some of the most potent for emotional rewiring. Your subconscious listens closely. Your body relaxes. Your energy opens. And what you feed your mind in these minutes shapes the frequency you wake up with. This is why the evening gratitude ritual is one of the fastest ways to raise your emotional baseline. Step 3. Evening gratitude. 5 minutes. Thank you for what today gave me. In your journal, write down 3 things you received today. These are not necessarily grand moments. Often, they're small miracles disguised as ordinary life. A stranger holding the door. A moment of unexpected laughter. A warm breeze. Kind message. A sudden moment of clarity. Solved problem. Quiet moment of relief. A smile that softened your heart. As you write, feel the sensation of receiving. This ritual does 2 remarkable things. 1. It trains your brain to notice good things. Your subconscious begins seeking evidence of alignment, support, synchronicity. 2. It raises your emotional frequency while you sleep. You fall asleep in the frequency of gratitude, and your nervous system integrates it. This is what creates the experience of overnight miracles. Why these 10 minutes create quantum acceleration. Let's break this down in simple terms. When you practice the morning and evening rituals daily, you begin your day in alignment. You end your day in receiving. Your brain reorients toward support. Your emotional baseline rises. Your nervous system enters safety more often. Your intuition becomes clearer. Your energy vibrates closer to your future self. Small daily shifts lead to exponential change. Your trajectory changes. Your perception changes. Your expectations change. Your opportunities change. And because the universe mirrors your emotional state, your outer reality begins rearranging itself. This is the foundation of quantum acceleration. Tiny emotional shifts repeated consistently create massive energetic movement. A story from my own journey. Let me tell you something quietly. There was a year when I felt completely disconnected from myself. I was overworking, overwhelmed, and living in survival mode. My mornings were rushed. My nights were numb. I kept telling myself I needed a big life change. But what I actually needed was a small emotional anchor. So I started a ritual. 2 minutes of intention. 3 minutes of morning gratitude. 5 minutes of evening gratitude. 10 minutes total. The first week felt subtle, almost too subtle. But something inside me kept softening, then shifting, then expanding. Within months, my life had changed. Not because I pushed, not because I hustled, not because I forced anything, but because my frequency changed. And my life rearranged itself around that new frequency. This is the power of ritual. How to personalize your ritual. Every person's energy is different. Every heart has its own rhythm. Here are ways you can make the ritual feel like yours. Light a candle to signal to your body that you are entering sacred space. Use a specific journal so your brain anchors the ritual into a physical object. Play soft music to set the frequency, something calming, gentle, atmospheric. Sit near natural light, so your nervous system associates the ritual with openness. Place your hand on your heart to create emotional coherence. Choose a cozy space where your body feels safe to soften. Make it yours. Let it feel nourishing. When you miss a day, let me tell you something important. You do not need to be perfect. This ritual is not a test. It's an invitation. If you skip a day, you're not failing. You're being human. Simply return gently. The power is not in perfection. The power is in presence. Closing the chapter. Your future begins in 10 minutes. Before you close this chapter, place one hand on your heart. Let it warm your palm. Now whisper softly, I can change my life in 10 minutes a day. And you can. Because the ritual is not about writing. It's not about the journal. It's not about the list. It's about the emotion you activate, the presence you cultivate, the frequency you embody, the alignment you choose. Over time, this ritual becomes a heartbeat, steady, grounding, transformative, and your future begins meeting you in ways that feel effortless and undeniable. You don't need big actions to change your life. You need small, consistent, beautifully aligned moments of returning to yourself. This ritual is your way home. Chapter 7: The Quantum Jump begins. Take a slow breath with me, love. The kind of breath that feels like a soft opening. Like the first light rising behind a mountain. You have learned so much already. How to locate your emotional point A. How to sense the presence of your point B. How gratitude shifts your inner frequency. And how to ground your life through the 10-minute ritual. Now we step into the part that many people misunderstand, overcomplicate, or never fully trust. The moment the quantum jump begins. Most people think a quantum leap is explosive, like fireworks, like lightning, like sudden magic. But true quantum shifts are often quiet. They begin as subtleties, gentle expansions, soft changes in perception, small emotional increments, moments of clarity so delicate, you almost miss them. Yet those small internal changes carry enormous energetic impact. The quantum jump doesn't happen out there. It begins inside you, in the tiniest emotional movements that begin to rewire your reality. Let's walk slowly into this together. The quantum field responds to emotion, not effort. You've probably heard this before. Energy flows where attention goes. But here's something more specific and more accurate. Energy flows where emotion goes. You can think positively all day long and still feel stuck. You can work tirelessly, visualize intensely, or journal endlessly, and still experience no change. If your emotional frequency hasn't shifted, in the quantum field, emotion is the instruction manual. Emotion is the command. Emotion is the broadcast. When your dominant emotional state changes, even slightly, your entire field of possibility begins reorganizing itself. Your timelines shift. Your opportunities shift. Your relationships shift. Your intuition sharpens. Your inner guidance grows louder. You don't force a quantum jump. You feel your way into one. Timelines are emotional pathways. We often imagine timelines as fixed roads. But in the quantum model, they're more like rivers. Streams of potential running alongside one another. Every thought, every feeling, every action moves you into resonance with a specific stream. Think of it like tuning into a radio station. If you're in the frequency of fear, you tune into a timeline where fear shapes your experiences. If you're in the frequency of scarcity, you align with a timeline where lack is the dominant theme. If you're in the frequency of gratitude, you enter a timeline where abundance becomes natural. You don't manifest a new timeline. You select a new timeline through emotional resonance. And the emotional shifts created through your 10-minute ritual begin pulling you into higher, faster, clearer streams of possibility. This is the essence of a quantum jump. Not dramatic change, but emotional resonance with a different version of reality. The first signs of a quantum shift, you might miss them. When your emotional baseline rises, your life begins to shift in ways that are easy to overlook at first. You might notice things like feeling calmer in situations that used to trigger you, getting irritated for a shorter time, waking up with more clarity, sensing new ideas popping into your mind, attracting kinder conversations, seeing opportunities earlier, feeling more supported by life, noticing synchronicities, feeling guided instead of lost, in moments of deep peace appearing out of nowhere. These are not small things. These are indicators that your inner frequency is pulling you into a higher reality. But because these changes are gentle, many people dismiss them. They say, "It's just a coincidence. It's probably nothing. I'm overthinking it. I'm imagining change." Well, you are sensing your future arriving. The shift always begins subtly, because your nervous system needs time to adapt to a new emotional climate. Quantum jumps start in whispers, before they echo loudly into your physical reality. The space between, where magic actually happens. There's a moment in every transformation that feels mysterious, confusing, or even anticlimactic. The space between, where you're no longer who you used to be, but not yet fully who you're becoming. This space is emotionally delicate. You might feel hopeful but unsure, calm but restless, open but confused, ready but impatient, aligned but unstable. This in-between feeling is the vibrational indicator that a quantum shift is already in motion, because your old emotional patterns are dissolving, and your new emotional patterns are just beginning to form. You're not stuck. You're transitioning. You're rewiring, recalibrating, ascending. This space is sacred. And if you stay consistent with your ritual here, this is where your timeline snaps into alignment. Your identity begins to shift first. A quantum jump is never about getting things. It's about becoming someone who naturally attracts those things. When your emotional baseline rises, you begin shedding old identities. Identities built on fear, scarcity, insecurity, or survival. You become someone who believes good things are possible. Someone who feels worthy of receiving. Someone who trusts the timing of their life. Someone who expects alignment. Someone who no longer negotiates with their worth. Someone who feels guided. Someone who isn't trying to control everything. Someone who can hold more joy. Someone who can hold more abundance. Your future self isn't a fantasy. She's an emotional frequency you're learning to hold. And once this identity shift happens, your external life catches up quickly. 'Cause the universe always matches who you believe you are. Why consistency matters more than intensity. You don't need massive emotional leaps. You don't need perfect 30-minute meditations. You don't need non-stop positivity. In the quantum model, frequency is shaped by consistency, not intensity. It is better to feel gratitude for 10 seconds a day than to feel intense gratitude once a month. It is better to shift 1% each day than to try shifting 100% in a single moment. Small daily shifts create strong emotional momentum. And once momentum builds, the universe moves faster. This is why the 10-minute ritual works so beautifully. It's not dramatic, and steady. And steady frequency is what creates quantum leaps. You start feeling your future before you see it. This is one of the most magical and overlooked principles. Your future self arrives emotionally before she arrives physically. You will start feeling lighter, clearer, a more supported, a more guided, more aligned, more hopeful, a more grounded, a more abundant, more open, a more alive. Before anything external changes. This is not wishful thinking. It is energetic preparation. Your nervous system must become comfortable with the frequency of your future before your life can express it physically. Once your emotional body adjusts, your physical reality follows. Every time. Signs you're entering a new timeline. There is a set of subtle but unmistakable signs that your quantum jump has begun. You may notice. 1. You feel less reactive. Things don't bother you the way they used to. 2. You feel strangely detached from old fears. Not numb, just uninvested. 3. Your intuition gets louder. A soft inner knowing begins guiding you. 4. You attract new people or conversations. Your frequency calls in different kinds of relationships. 5. You see repeating numbers or synchronicities, a sign of energetic alignment. 6. You feel ahead of life, not behind it, as though your future is moving toward you. 7. You experience moments of unexpected softness, a gentle emotional opening. 8. You feel an inner spaciousness you can't explain. A sign that old emotional patterns are dissolving. These are not random. These are indicators that your energy has crossed a threshold. Your quantum jump is already happening. The universe meets you at your frequency. I want you to imagine something. Your future self, the one who feels grounded, hopeful, abundant, is standing 2 feet away from you. Hands open, patient, loving. She's not waiting for you to achieve more. She's not waiting for your circumstances to improve. She's not waiting for you to fix yourself. She's waiting for your frequency to rise enough for you to meet her vibrationally. This is what the 10-minute ritual does. It raises your emotional frequency until you begin resonating with your higher timeline. And once the resonance matches, the universe moves quickly. Doors open, ideas land, energy shifts, support arrives, opportunities align. Your future no longer feels far, feels near, intimate, inevitable, because energetically you've already stepped into it. Closing the chapter. You're already in the jump. Before you close this chapter, place your hand over your heart. Feel your warmth. Feel your aliveness. Feel your becoming. Then whisper softly, like a promise to your future self. I am shifting. I am aligning. I am stepping into the life that was meant for me. 'Cause you are. Quantum jumps are not defined by speed. They are defined by frequency. And your frequency has already begun to rise. You don't need to see everything yet. You don't need to understand everything yet. You don't need proof. Your emotions are proof. Your peace is proof. Your softening is proof. Your clarity is proof. Your hope is proof. You are already inside the shift. And your future, your beautiful, aligned, abundant future, is already on its way to meet you. Chapter 8, A Story of Proof. Take a slow breath, the kind that feels like you're settling deeper into yourself. Because this chapter is not theory, not science, not metaphor. This chapter is a story, a real moment from a real person, who once stood exactly where you might be standing now. I want to share it with you softly, with reverence, because it is one of those stories that changed me, as much as it changed the person living it. And it is proof, gentle, undeniable proof, that the shift you're making is real. When she first came to me, she walked into my program quietly, not with boldness, not with excitement, but with a softness that comes from being tired for too long. Her voice was small, her shoulders slightly hunched, as if she were trying to take up less space in a world that had felt too heavy for her. She told me, "I'm not doing well. I lost my job. I don't know how to start again. Everything feels stuck." And then, almost whispering, "I feel like something is wrong with me." I wish you could have seen her the way I did. Because even in her exhaustion, even in her uncertainty, there was a light in her eyes that she couldn't see yet, a light trying to return to itself. But this is what happens when someone has been living in a low emotional frequency for too long. They begin to mistake their exhaustion for their identity. They begin to mistake their circumstances for their worth. They begin to mistake their temporary moment for their permanent truth. And she was no exception. But what she didn't know then, what she couldn't have known, was that her life was already preparing to shift faster than she believed possible. I did not give her a strategy. Most people expect a plan, step-by-step method, roadmap, fix. She expected that from me as well. But I didn't give her any of those things. Not because strategies are unhelpful. They have their place. But because when someone's emotional frequency is low, no strategy in the world can land. Bounces right off. It gets filtered through a lens of fear, self-doubt, and scarcity. Before anything external could change, she needed one thing. Her frequency had to rise. Her emotional baseline had to shift upward. Just enough for possibility to enter. So I asked her for something simple. Almost too simple. I said, "I don't need you to solve anything yet. I just need you to begin noticing your life again. Every day write down 3 things you are grateful for. And send them to me if that helps you stay with it." She looked skeptical. And I understood. When your life feels like it's falling apart, write 3 gratitudes can sound laughably small. But she trusted me. Or maybe she didn't. But she trusted the part of herself that wanted to try. Either way, she agreed. And this is where everything began. The first week, subtle shifts. Her first messages were hesitant. Grateful for my morning coffee. Grateful for my sister who texted me. Grateful for my warm bed. Small things. Simple things. Ordinary things. But they weren't small emotionally. With each gratitude she wrote, her nervous system relaxed a little. Her breath softened. Her perception widened. Because gratitude, even in tiny doses, begins to untangle the knots in your heart. It starts reminding you, I am supported. I am not alone. There are still things working for me. By the end of the week, something in her tone shifted, just slightly. She wrote, I actually feel a little calmer today. That might not sound dramatic, but energetically it was everything. Because calm is a higher frequency than overwhelm, and any upward movement on the emotional scale opens the doorway to a new timeline. She had already begun the quantum jump, without even knowing it. The second month, her identity softened. As the weeks passed, her gratitudes deepened. They moved from external comforts to internal transformations. I'm grateful that I didn't spiral today. I'm grateful I noticed a moment of hope. I'm grateful that I trusted myself when I normally wouldn't. These were no longer observations. These were identity shifts. She was no longer a woman collapsing under the weight of her fears. She had begun becoming a woman who could hold herself. When her emotional baseline shifted, her self-perception shifted with it. And when her self-perception shifted, her energy began interacting with the world differently. People noticed. Opportunities noticed. Her life noticed. This is how quantum jumps begin. Inside the quiet rooms of your identity, long before the outer world reflects the change. The miracle she didn't expect. And then it happened. One afternoon I received a message from her. A short one, but full of energy I hadn't felt from her before. I got a job, she wrote. A really good one. But the part that brought tears to my eyes was what she said next. It feels like it came out of nowhere. But also, it feels like it was always meant for me. Exactly. Because that's the thing about quantum shifts. They seem to appear suddenly. But they've been forming quietly. The entire time your frequency was changing. Her new job wasn't random. Was a match, vibrational match, to the emotional frequency she had been cultivating. Through her small, steady practice of gratitude, her energy became a magnet for the timeline that belonged to her. She didn't chase anything. She aligned with it. And alignment is always more powerful than effort. Her transformation was not about the job. The job was the physical expression of her shift. But the real transformation happened long before the offer arrived. The real miracle was this. She began believing she deserved good things. She began believing she was capable. She began believing she was supported. She began believing her future was not a threat, but an invitation. She didn't attract the job because she wanted it. She attracted it because she had become the version of herself who receives it. Her frequency changed. Her identity changed. Her life responded. This is why I tell you, you don't manifest from desire. You manifest from identity. And identity changes when emotional frequency changes. You are not the exception, you are next. I didn't share this story to inspire you. I shared it to remind you. Because I want you to feel something very clearly. You are not behind. You are not missing something. You are not unworthy. You are not too late. You are not the exception to transformation. You are simply between timelines. You are learning to feel, to receive, to soften, to open, to become the version of you who already exists. This story is not a miracle reserved for a lucky few. It is a blueprint of what happens when someone raises their emotional frequency, even 1% each day. It is proof that the universe rearranges itself around your inner state, and it is a mirror of what is possible. Know what is inevitable when you commit to the shift, not through pressure, not through perfection, not through force, but through softness, awareness, emotion, gratitude, alignment. Closing the chapter. Proof lives inside you too. Before you close this chapter, place your hand on your heart. Feel that warmth. Feel that presence. Feel that quiet power. Then whisper softly, if it's possible for her, it's possible for me. My story is already unfolding. 'Cause it is. Your quantum jump has already begun. Your frequency is rising. Your identity is shifting. Your future is coming toward you. And soon, sooner than you expect, you will look back at this moment and understand. It was never a question of if. It was only ever a matter of when. Here is your closing, 800 words, written in your soft, luminous, heart-forward voice, exactly as you requested. It gently expands the lines you gave me into a full closing chapter. Closing. The miracle is already looking for you. Take one breath with me. Slow one. The kind that reminds you your body is still here. Your heart is still beating. Your spirit is still listening. You don't need to change your whole life today. You don't need to fix everything. You don't need to rush into a new identity, a new mindset, a new destiny. All you need, truly, is to shift the frequency you're standing in. Just a little. Just enough that your heart feels 1 degree softer, 1 degree more open, 1 degree more available to possibility. Because your future isn't far away. It's not waiting years ahead. It's not locked behind effort or hustle, or perfect timing or perfect healing. Your future is leaning toward you. Even now. Even in this moment. Even as you read these words. There is a version of you, calmer, clearer, stronger, fuller, who is already reaching back, already whispering your name, already guiding your steps. Through instinct, intuition, and inner tugging. You don't need to go searching for her. She's been walking beside you the whole time. And the bridge between here and there is only 10 minutes long. Not 10 years. Not 10,000 hours. Not 10 reinventions. Just 10 minutes of emotional alignment each day. 5 minutes to set your intention in the morning. To choose the frequency you want to live inside. To whisper into the universe, I am available for something beautiful today. And 5 minutes in the evening. To notice the proof. To witness the softness. The synchronicities. The small miracles that have been brushing against your life all along. This tiny ritual is not small. It is powerful in a way that the mind can't understand. But the heart feels immediately. Because when you shift your frequency, your world rearranges itself around you. You begin to notice the support you missed before. You begin to sense the opportunities. You begin to trust your timing. You begin to expect the good. You begin to feel guided. You begin to feel less alone. You begin to feel like life is happening with you, not to you. And that is the moment, quiet, subtle, unforced, when the miracle finds you. Not because you chased it. Not because you manifested perfectly. Not because you became a flawless version of yourself. But because your frequency rose high enough for you to receive what was already meant for you. The miracle was never far. You simply couldn't see it from where you were standing. Now you can. Your eyes are softening. Your heart is opening. Your perception is widening. Your energy is starting to match the life that has been waiting for you. This is the real meaning of a quantum shift. It is not sudden magic. It is gradual alignment. One breath, one emotion, one journal entry, one moment of gratitude at a time. This is not about perfection. It is about presence. Not about controlling. About allowing. Not about certainty. About trust. Not about forcing the future. About feeling the future now. If there is one thing I want you to remember, long after you close this book, let it be this. You are not manifesting things. You are manifesting the emotional frequency that brings those things. And your frequency is already rising. You found this book for a reason. You read these words for a reason. You felt something inside you shift for a reason. This journey is not random. It's recognition, remembering, your spirit tugging you home. So take one more slow breath. And as you exhale, let yourself feel, just for a moment, that maybe, just maybe, your future is closer than you ever imagined. Maybe it's already unfolding. Maybe it's already aligning. Maybe the miracle you've been longing for is already looking for you right now. And all you have to do is meet it halfway. 10 minutes, 2 rituals, 1 rising frequency. The rest will come. Your future is leaning toward you, love. Let's shift together, gently, toughly, beautifully, into the life that has been waiting for you. Letter from Lila Hart. I want to leave you with this, not as an author, not as a teacher, but as a woman who has walked her own labyrinth of fear, hope, softness, collapse, rebirth, and quiet light. If we were sitting together right now, maybe on a porch in Santa Fe, watching the sun settle gently across the mountains, I'd look at you and say, you didn't imagine your transformation. You lived it. Because writing this book wasn't just about sharing a method. It was about offering you a doorway back to yourself, back to your emotional truth, back to the soft power you thought you had lost. And if there is one thing my journey has taught me, it's this. Transformation doesn't come from force. Comes from gentleness we finally allow. For so many years I thought healing meant effort. Fixing. Trying harder. Becoming stronger. But the deepest changes in my life came from the moments I softened. The mornings when I sat quietly with my journal. Not to achieve anything, but to breathe, feel, to remember. The evenings when I whispered thank you, even when nothing looked certain. The days when I let myself be held by something bigger than my own plans. And now, knowing you've walked through these pages, I want to say something I wish someone had said to me earlier in my life. I'm proud of you for choosing to read something that nourishes you, for staying open even when life asked you to close, for coming back to yourself, softly, bravely, imperfectly. You didn't just read a book. You shifted your frequency. You raised your emotional baseline. You stepped into a new timeline, without even realizing you were doing it. And I hope you celebrate that. Not with fireworks, but with a hand on your heart, and a long, slow exhale that says, I'm becoming the woman I once prayed to meet. 'Cause you are. And this isn't the end of your journey, just the moment your new chapter is beginning. I hope you give yourself more quiet mornings, more presence, more tenderness, more gratitude, more permission to feel the life you want. Before it arrives physically, I hope you let yourself be guided by the whisper inside your chest, the one that always knows the way. even when your mind doesn't. And I hope you remember that. Nothing about you is an accident. Your timing, your longings, your struggles, your softness, your strength, your desires, your becoming. All of it is intentional. As you step out of this book and back into your life, I want you to walk with this truth tucked gently into your heart. The miracle isn't somewhere out there. It's already on its way to you, and you are already rising to meet it. Thank you for letting me be part of your journey, even for a few pages. Thank you for trusting your heart enough to open it. And thank you, truly, for allowing my words to walk beside you. We will meet again, in your quiet moments, in your breath, in your gratitude, in the soft frequency of your becoming. With all my warmth and all my love, Lila.